Hey everybody, welcome back to yet another beautiful fall day in the Arizona desert. It's probably about 65 degrees and sunny this morning, and I want to get back to work on the Mustang. I'm waiting for the carburetor rebuild kits to arrive, but while I'm waiting, I'd like to get this lower heater hose replaced because looks like it would be really easy to do right now that the power steering pump is out. It's right there, so we're going to get that done. I'd like to do the heater hoses, but one thing you'll note on this car is you can see where the heater hoses go in through the firewall. There is no nipple there. They have to be attached underneath the dash at the heater core. And there's another problem with that, and that is, despite being unlocked, the driver's door does not open. Yeah, the key will move the knob up and down. I can move it up and down from the inside by hand, but neither door handle will open the door. And if you've ever dealt with that, that sucks. But we're going to cross that bridge when we come to it. I didn't want to get under the dash today anyway. I also want to get the front wheel bearings repacked, and I want to get all the drums back on. I want to bleed the brakes. I bench bled the master. And some of these other lines, like these hoses that go to this air pump, these are molded hoses, and I would really like to just leave them alone. Also want to get belts done, although I don't have belts. This rubber flap that went on the front, it just crumbled and fell apart on me. So where to start? Let's do the radiator hose first. That should be easy. Had you asked me to place a bet, I'd have sworn there would have been nothing in that cooling system. Well, it just dawned on me that I forgot to order inner wheel bearing seals, so that job's not going to happen today. Well, I went to bleed the brakes, and 3 of the bleeder fittings broke loose easily, and 1 broke off. So I'm going to have to pop that wheel cylinder out of there. I'm not even going to try and do it while it's on the car, which means I have to pull this line off. And if that wheel cylinder was frozen, that line is probably frozen too. And if that line breaks, then I kind of lucked out in a way. If that line breaks, it only goes up a short distance to a block right here. Don't know if you can see where I'm pointing. And I'll have to make a new 2-foot long steel line for that, which isn't a big deal. But one of my big concerns is if I pull that wheel cylinder out of there, and it looks completely like crap, then I'm going to probably feel the need at that point to replace all 4 wheel cylinders. All right, unfortunately, I had to use a hammer and a brass drift to pound those wheel cylinder pistons out. Where am I at here? Carburetor back on, fuel system back on. I've been having a heck of a time getting parts for this car. I had trouble with the belts, but I have all the belts now. Obviously, I don't have the power steering back on. I've got 1 power steering hose in. The other power steering hose is on the way. I have both front wheel cylinders swapped and both front brake hoses swapped. And while I don't think there's really anything wrong with the old brake hoses and I was going to leave them on, I had to take them off, and I'm not putting 50 some odd year old brake hoses back on because they're only 15 bucks a piece. But that's all back on. Both sides are there. I've got 1 wheel cylinder on the back done. That would be this side. They sent me the wrong one for the other side. It uses the same one for both sides, and the fitment books say it's a different one, but it's not. So that's not going to arrive till today. The pressure power steering line is not going to arrive for a few days from now, but carburetor's back on. Fuel system's all connected back up. Let's see if I can't get it to run, and I think I may have to replace a couple of rubber hoses, or at least get them pliable enough that I can hook them back up so I don't have vacuum leaks. I can adjust the float and the idle. And the idle should be pretty close because I counted how many turns they were in before I put the new ones in, but maybe I can get it running and idling. That'd be great. Another thing I just noticed is this line here. I had no memory of where this line went, And it took me a bit, but I traced it all the way back, and it goes to the vacuum modulator on the transmission. These transmissions had what was called, as I mentioned, a vacuum modulator. And it was a little vacuum diaphragm, and it threaded into the transmission, and it got manifold vacuum, and it told the transmission how hard to make the shifts. And there's no place for this to hook up to anymore, so I started looking, and it looks like the end, the nipple, is broken off in the hose. And then I got the old carburetor spacer, and that's where it went right there. So I may wind up at some point having to pull this carburetor back off and put a nipple in the bottom of that, in that carburetor, not the bottom, but put a nipple in the back of that carburetor spacer to get it to shift right. All right, I believe I have all the vacuum leaks plugged up, everything's set to go. Key is off. I don't really want it to start. All I really want to do is get the float level set. So let's come around here. I have both sight plugs out of the carburetor. I have the adjusters finger tight. So let's see if I can get the a float adjustment going here. Only got gas coming out the top here. I forgot they leaked when they were loose. This one too, so I'm definitely getting fuel. Nope. Got fuel coming out of the front, so I'm gonna have to turn that in a ways. I will eventually do this while it's running, but right now I just kind of want to get the initial level set if I can while it's not running. Oh, it's flooding out of there. Okay. If you remember, if you watched the rebuild video, this front adjustment was set so low that it was all the way down inside and couldn't even get the nut on it. So I tried to adjust that. Really would like there to be some adjustment in both directions on it. Oh, still gushing out. I'm going the right way, aren't I? I believe I'm going the right way. Try again. All right, now nothing's coming out. That's what I want. All right, let's turn it a little the other way. Stop. All right. So I think right about back where I was is probably perfect. I have good fuel pressure. I see nothing coming out of the back. So I'm going to turn it out a bit. See if I can see something. I'm going to put the sight plug back in the front for now. I got a pool of gasoline in here. I'm not too thrilled about. But that was how you did these. Kind of like the old anal carburetors on English motorcycles. You tickled them until they dumped fuel all over your boots and pant legs and the engine, and that's when you knew when the bike was ready to start. See if I can get something to come out back here. Alright, I see it barely dripping out, so I'm going to call that good. I'm going to tighten both of these. I'm going to get the back sight plug back in, and then I'm going to get that gasoline dried up out of there, because I don't want to start it with 3 ounces of gasoline laying in the intake manifold. All right, I have all that closed up. I have all the gas that spilled down onto the manifold sucked up and dried up. Here we go, again. All right, how about full choke? Full choke. Nothing. Nothing. How about wide open choke? How about no choke at all? How about a little extra fuel down it? Let's give it a little extra. Might be the wrong thing to do, but won't be the first time I've done the wrong thing. See if that helps. All right. I should be getting spark and I should be firing, unless it's just completely flooded. Let's try wide open. Nope, it is not happy. Why is it not happy? All right, I just checked spark with this and I have spark. It's getting enough gas because I squirted a bunch down its throat, so I'm definitely getting enough gas. So maybe it's just flooded, so let's just leave it alone for a few minutes. All right, battery's had a bit of time to charge and we've had a bit of time to unflood ourselves. So let's see if she'll go. Nothing. Nothing. All right, that's kind of weirding me out because it was starting before. I know I got spark. I don't believe I've fouled all 8 plugs, but anything's possible. So why we no start? Give it some choke again because I'm not sure what else to do. There we go. Maybe a little less choke now. Got a lifter ladder. Have oil pressure. All right, not going to run without the choke on, and there is no cool in it still, so that's about as long as I'm going to run it. And I definitely have one or more lifters clattering. So I think I'm going to end this one here. I am pretty happy with where I'm at now. Engine seems like it's running pretty good. Yeah, I have a pretty loud lifter tick. I need to richen the idle mixture up. I need to do a couple other small odds and ends here under the hood. I've got to get the pressure hose on the power steering. Return line is in there someplace. I put it on, but it dropped down under there. I also put a new boot. I don't know if you can see it. You can't, but I put a new boot on the power steering cylinder ram, and that's good. The new belts are in. The lower radiator hose is on. The brakes are completely all done, back together and bled, all 4 wheels. The wheel cylinders are in and done, of course. And I think I'm ready for, oh, also, when I rolled the window down, the lock knob popped up a little more, and now the passenger door opens. So I got that going for me. But yeah, next video, change the oil, get coolant in it. I got a rear main seal leak, which shouldn't come as any surprise. So I think I'm going to put some AT205 in there to try and clear that up. But nothing's leaking at the carburetor. That's a good sign. I'm also going to have to get some Rizlone or some Seafoam in it to try and clear up that ticking lifter. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. And I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.